Good evening, one and all, and welcome to episode 247 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live from YouTube, whether you're watching the recording or you're watching live. Thank you very much for tuning in. For the benefit of those watching live, as always, a rough idea of the plan for this evening. If all goes according to plan, if all goes well, we're going to be doing 3 videos back to back. The first one, I think you can guess, is going to be on this one. The second one is also going to be on a new flanker to a huge masculine fragrance. And then the third one is going to be a slightly longer one, a kind of tribute video. And you may guess where we're going with that, seeing as what happened in the last few days. If you're watching the recording, perhaps very little of this will make sense, but never mind, you've probably just come here to hear my thoughts on this new release from Dior. First comment goes to Constantine, who says, first time watching live. Fantastic. So you get the first comment. Perfumeros is saying hello from Puerto Rico. Hi. Maudlin is saying hello, everyone. And Angela is here as well, saying hi there, Persolaise and everyone. Good evening from Leeds. A very good evening to you as well. Constantine says, new to live chat, but have seen all videos. Very excited. Greetings from Berlin. Thank you very much for the enthusiasm. Okay. We need to get going because, as I said, we have got quite a few things we need to get through. I'm just going to go onto the tablet to make sure that everything is coming through loud and clear. The usual things that I always say. Apologies if you've heard them a million times before, but some of you may not have. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so, and please consider supporting my work on Ko-fi as well. All support is always very, very gratefully received. You will find information about all of that in the video description below. Not very interested in this perfume, Mr. Persolaise, says Paulo Viegas, but incredibly interested in your opinion. Thank you very much. Okay, so as you can see, this is going to be a genuine Is It Love at First Scent, because this has not been unsealed yet, and I have not had a sniff of it at all. So I'm a little bit nervous, as I tend to be when I'm sniffing something genuinely for the first time. This is the yet another new version of Dior Homme Sport. The powers that be at Dior are still doing their very, very best to confuse us with flankers and changes and different editions, and a strand of hair that is really, really annoying me. Okay, stay there. I had a conversation with a friend just the other day. He said that he had bought a bottle of J'adore for his wife not that long ago. And I think he asked me what I think of it, and I said that basically I like J'adore, but saying that you've bought J'adore is almost like sort of saying that you've bought somebody a cake for dessert now, because there are so many versions out there that I'm genuinely lost actually by what is available from J'adore and what isn't. But to put, lots of comments suddenly coming through. Curious to hear your views on this compared to Dior Homme 2020, says Drawn by Sense. Don't fiddle with your hair. I know, it's really annoying that when you see it there, you think, okay, I shall stop fiddling with my hair now. Dior seems to be determined to just confuse the consumer and dupe them into buying the flanker, says Constantine. Yeah. Hello, midnight from Indonesia, says Fahmi. Thank you very much for tuning in. And Tomasz is saying, hello, everybody from Katowice. Extremely windy and snowy tonight in my area. And Rich Mitch is just going, ew. A bit of context then. So, go back several years. The original Dior Homme, the original Dior Homme came out in 2005. It was, of course, a beautiful kind of gourmand, woody masculine composed by Olivier Polge. It heralded a potential change in the direction that masculines could take. That didn't quite happen. I don't think, even though it's a stunning scent and one of my favorite scents of all time, and I think one of the best things that Dior have ever done, it didn't quite catch on, I guess, in the way that maybe it could have, even though it's a very, very highly regarded piece of work. This could be a masterpiece, says Yura. Absolutely, we need to approach everything with an open mind. In 2008. We had a sport version, which apparently was composed by Francois Demachy. I loved it. I wish I had bought a backup bottle of that one. I remember the first time I sniffed it was at the huge Sephora in Nice, and I was a Dior Homme fan then anyway. The original Dior Homme Sport was quite different from original Dior Homme. It had that beautiful sort of sparkling, gingery, grapefruity note. It really ticked all of the boxes that you wanted a citrus scent to tick. And then things got rather confusing. Several years after that, when Francois Demachy tried to, well, he didn't try to, and it wasn't just him. The Dior succeeded. Dior succeeded in changing the compositions of a lot of the older Dior scents, and then making them completely in-house creations, because the new versions were composed by Francois Demachy. So Dior Homme, as we know, changed fairly recently into something that doesn't even pretend to be like the original Dior Homme, except that the original Dior Homme is still sold in some markets as Dior Homme Original. If you're confused, don't worry, so am I. We had lots and lots of flankers. We had another Dior Homme Sport. We had a Dior Homme Cologne. And there did come a point where I just genuinely lost track. I hang on to my bottle of the original Olivier Polge Dior Homme. I wish I had a few more drops of the original Dior Homme Sport. But now we have a new Dior Homme Sport, the face of which is still Mr. Pattinson. Perhaps we will unveil him in all his boxing glory here. This is listed on some listings as Dior Homme Sport 2021, even though I don't think it actually goes on sale until like next week, which technically makes it a 2022. You know, time travel is the least of our worries as far as Dior Homme is concerned. Dior have been reformulation crazy in the past 10 years, says Jeremy. They made another sport. What's going on at the Dior marketing department? Monsieur Demachy has used incense in this version. It must be good, says Sotir. Interesting. Dior Homme Back to the Future, says DJ. Intense. Oh, of course, we had the Intense. I liked the first Intense. That's another one that I've got a bottle of. Then we had the Parfum, which wasn't bad at all. We need a spreadsheet to keep track of it all, says Rachel. We do, and there probably is one out there. Okay, so that's probably as much context as we need. But I guess the upshot of all of that is that really we just need to try to appraise these scents, these new versions, on their own terms. I don't think there's any point in smelling this and going, oh, is it like the original Dior Homme Sport? Is it like the original Dior Homme? Because I think that's sort of expecting it to be something that it isn't trying to be anyway. So let's unseal. Please do unbox Mr. Patterson in all his glory, says Johanna. Oh, you're a fan then. Sport Elixir could be next from Monsieur Courgillon. Well, that's interesting as well, because I wanted to check whether this would be credited as a Francis Courgillon release, but no, it is a Francois Demachy release. Okay, I wonder what will happen now with Courgillon at the helm. More new versions of everything Polge and Demachy created. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, let's go. This is always so nerve-wracking, because I seem to remember as well, and I may even have done a video on it. I seem to remember that the last Dior Homme Sport that we had, I really was not a fan at all. So was it a Sport or was it a Cologne? Yeah, the last Dior Homme, the Dior Homme 2020, which was meant to be like the reinterpretation of original Dior Homme, I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was anywhere near as interesting and groundbreaking and original as the first Dior Homme. If anybody is still watching at this point after all of this stuff, I would be very impressed. Anyway, it's basically for 9 minutes I've been talking about how there are loads and loads of different versions. So at this point I should say thank you for your patience and your persistence and perseverance. Okay, Dior Homme Intense was great then. I still own 100ml bottle, says Tomasz. It has a hint of Jill Sander Jill, which I like very much. Okay, are we ready for this? You're all watching the forehead, aren't you? Can you hear that? Can you hear that gentle spray? It is a very gentle spray. No, let's at least do it the right way around, Persolaise. Oh dear. Prof. Melvin says, of course we're watching. We want to see your facial reaction. We're on the edge of our seat, says Jeremy. DJ zoomed in on the forehead. Okay, that initial blast of what the hell have they put into this bottle has very, very quickly faded away, which probably means that whatever it was there is going to come back later. You know it's going to come back. Camille, it's always the facial expressions. I see 3 lines in the forehead, says Yura. That's not good, and slightly intrigued. Maybe all I need, maybe I just need to shut up in these videos and just go. Okay, so having said, this is a bit ironic. Having said everything I said about, we mustn't compare it to any of the originals, any of the ones that have come before. This one actually reminds me of the first Dior Homme Sport from 2008. This one reminds me of that one much, much more than the previous Dior Homme Sport did. So at least so far we get one tick for making me go, I didn't think you'd be going there. Because what does come through is a sort of lemony, grapefruity note that feels, bergamotty sort of note, that feels much more sparkling, much more effervescent, and much more naturalistic than, frankly, I thought we were going to get from this release. So, okay, it's promising so far. David says it's not a bad release. I may be with you on this one, David. I think there are aldehydes. Oh, there probably is some kind of aldehydic feel. The original Dior Homme, original Dior Homme makes very, very interesting use of aldehydes. Smell it again if you've never sort of smelt it and thought aldehydes, and think of that connection between the carrot seed and the aldehydes at the top. It's really, really intriguing. Sotir says, so glad you said that it reminds you of the first version. Okay, why are you glad? But what worries me is that it feels as though it's very rapidly going to go onto a base of fairly generic, fairly ordinary sorts of woods, and a kind of ambroxany feel. And I have to say, I wonder if a kind of point of departure for this, and I may be saying this because this fragrance has been on my mind lately because of some other videos and blog posts that I've been doing, but I wonder if a point of departure for this was a certain fragrance called Aventus, because that citrus note at the top, kind of hovering right next to the woods that just ever so slightly go too far in the direction of unpleasant BO. It did make me think of that. Also slightly hints at Sauvage, says David, and of course Sauvage, yeah, same kind of family. I like Gavin's comment. What worries me? Let's see if the press release says it's a fragrance that inspires anxiety. And Jeremy wants pizza. This is the sport flanker to go with Dior Homme 2020, says Paige. Both are generic but pleasant and mass appealing. Yeah, I would go with that. Jeremy says the Sauvage Curse, Ambroxan Bomb, everything. Okay, so let us unveil, Mr. Pattinson, to see what the press release bit, by the way, is just this tiny little blurb at the back. So I will read that to you. But some of you want Mr. Pattinson. Look, he's not even wearing any clothes. You get everything on this channel now. And it says, if you want a lover. Oh, I think it's the Leonard Cohen quote, isn't it? If you want a boxer, I will step into the ring for you. If you want a lover, etc., etc. Dior Homme Sport, DHS. Take your fill of this. No, hang on. So what are people saying? Fabulous, says Angela. Kick me hard, says Miguel. Are they marketing to men or women, says Katsy. Well, the brands always want masculine perfumes to appeal to women. so that either women will wear them and borrow them, or they will buy them for the men in their lives. And you know, I'm not boxing a vampire, says Jeremy. Demachy wore this sport flanker running away from Dior on his last day, says Yura. Had his PE kit on as well. I know, but I'm not reading the rest of your comment. Okay, so take your last look at this. Yes, he's looking very, very moody and Brando-esque there. I shouldn't be too disparaging because I actually think he's a very, very good actor. And what have we got to read to you about this? Leonard Cohen's deep voice sings of mad love, telling of the roles he wants to play, taking on their destinies. For her, he will be as passionate as a boxer, with an ardor found in the new Dior Homme. Oh, that's handy. A hero brimming with intensity, masculinity, and a blend of nuances. Designed to inspire anxiety. No way! I am, of course, fibbing. The opening move is made effusive, explosive, immediately recognizable, citrus and a breath of air, freshness and movement. Without a doubt, the invigorating temperament of Dior Homme is identified. Its fresh uppercut, its muscular, woody elegance, and yet it is obvious everything has changed. Right? Francois Demachy chose to revisit his creation to give new substance to this manifesto for masculinity. With one embrace, he turns the clear composition upside down, tinging it with warm and amber notes, wrapping it in spices, enriching it with even more wood. In the end, a new Dior Homme Sport joins the family with a direct, well-placed jab that eventually melts into the skin. That's disgusting. A jab that melts into the skin. Sorry. The marketers need a better thesaurus, says Professor Melvin. A luminous, juicy freshness enriched with a new imprint that lasts and settles, prolonging the caress. Is it a jab or is it a caress? This energetic incipit announces a long-lasting scent. Okay. Robert Pattinson, the Dior man, climbs in turn into the ring, an immense star. Too much information. Transforms into a sexy boxer. As a fighter who dreams of reaching the stars, he dances, eyes feverish, shadow boxing choreographed to Leonard Cohen's odes to love, dense and light, ferocious and sublime. Not a huge amount about the scent, you may have noticed. 120 euros for 125 mils. Is this the 125 ml bottle? Looks like it. And it is an EDT. Good Lord, says Magdalene. And Natasha is getting controversial, saying, is this ode a wife beater? Let's just keep things light and frivolous, eh? We are sentient. Just ordered the Parfum Intense with my boots points. This sport sounds boring. It's a shame, as the original was a less cliched dude fume and broke some of the norms. Le boo. Jonathan says, sorry, you're going to kill me, but that's going to sell. Great. Yeah, it probably will sell. And okay, let's bring things back because we need to finish this video and move on. Oh, Andy's saying the AI autocomplete bots are getting smoother. Okay, it's already starting to go very, very, very definitely and very firmly into generic woody territory with that spikiness that, yes, as you're all saying, is probably going to be the thing that makes it sell, but that makes me think I don't particularly need this one in my collection or in my life, indeed. And perhaps I will scour the net to try to find an intact bottle of the 2008 Dior Homme Sport. Yeah, it's too serious and too spiky and too abrasive and too angry to convince as a light scent, but maybe it's actually more appropriately a sports scent because it's competitive and a bit snarky. Okay. And no doubt we shall do I shall do a blotter update in a few hours. But if you're sticking around for the next live, which will be in a few minutes, I think we can safely say that it's going to be a better one because I have sniffed that one already. It's another flanker to another huge masculine release. But for now, thank you very much for watching this one. See you in a bit.